الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. So today I just wanted to speak quickly about something very important in Islam that I didn't learn about actually till recently. I attended a talk on Friday of an organization that's helping to provide water for the people in Gaza. We know that especially in northern Gaza, there's no infrastructure for water delivery or sewage or anything. And so this organization fills trucks from places that have water and distributes it all across areas of Gaza that do not have any access. About 5 trucks a day, and then they're trying to get it up to 10 trucks because many of the people, again, don't have access to clean water. And we know that water is so important for cleanliness and for life in general, and for children. The most common cause of death in the world is from dehydration, which is from vomiting and diarrhea, which is typically related to inadequate access to clean water, and then also not being able to hydrate the children because there's no water in general. So the Prophet ﷺ told us in a hadith narrated by Uthman ibn Affan that there are no rights that the son of Adam is more entitled to than these 4 rights. The first is a shelter that he can dwell in. The second is a garment that would cover his nakedness. The third is a loaf of bread. And the fourth is water. So this hadith, the Prophet ﷺ tells us, he doesn't say Muslims, he says the son of Adam. So the son of Adam is entitled to shelter, to clothing, to food, and to water. These are the rights of the human being. As we know around the world, we're seeing that this is not happening, unfortunately. But here is our Prophet ﷺ, 1400 years ago, delineating the basic human rights of people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created. Another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ was asked, what is the best sadaqah? He said the best sadaqah is to give someone water. So water, again, being emphasized so much. There was a hadith of Sa'd radiallahu anh, that his mother passed away, and he asked the Prophet ﷺ, what is the best sadaqah that I can give for her? And he said, the sadaqah of water. So Sa'd radiallahu anh, he dug a well, and he said, after he finished digging the well, this is for Sa'd, this is for Sa'd, this is for Sa'd. So he dedicated the well as a sadaqah jariyah for his mother. Another hadith that the Prophet ﷺ says that anyone who builds a well and establishes it, any animal or jinn or human that drinks from that well, that person will have a reward for every one of those creatures drinking from it on the day of judgment. So again, such importance on water specifically. Some of the scholars say that this right is so important that if someone comes to you and asks you for some water, regardless of what it is, you are required to give him the water to relieve whatever his need is through the water, and you cannot deny him. Another hadith, there was one of the Sahaba, he had a garden and he had water coming through it, and he was not letting the water flow to the person that had the plot next to him. And so the Prophet ﷺ told him that take the water that you need for your garden and then let the water flow and go to the person next to you. So you're not allowed to hoard water and prevent it from going to other people or those around you. You can take your need, if it is the water, the spring, or the well, or whatever belongs to you, but it has to be distributed to those around you as well, as long as you're able to fulfill your need. And we know the famous hadith of the prostitute who came to a well and found a dog that was thirsty, and she filled her shoe with the water and brought it and gave it to the dog, and the dog quenched his thirst, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgave her. This is a prostitute, not even just a regular person, a prostitute. Just by her giving water to the animal, Allah forgave her for her sins. And then the famous story of Uthman ibn Affan also, subhanAllah. There was a time in the Sahaba in Medina that they were not having enough water for everyone. And there was a well that was owned actually by a Jewish person. It was the only well that was available at the time. And the Jewish person was selling the water at a very high price to the Sahaba. So the Prophet ﷺ one day said, "Who will buy this well? I guarantee him Jannah." And of course, who immediately answered? Uthman said, "I will do it." So Uthman ibn Affan went to the man and offered to buy the well for 40,000 dirham, which is a huge amount at the time. And the man refused. He said, "Why should I sell it? This is a gold mine for me, and I'm going to be getting more than that." So Uthman convinced him to pay him 20,000, and he would give him one day for him, and he would have the other day, the Jewish man. So they would split the owning of the water. So on the days that Uthman owned the well, he gave the water for free to the Muslims and to those around. And on the day that the Jewish man, he charged them. So of course, no one would go on the day that the Jewish man was in charge. So eventually he realized that he had lost the deal. So he told Uthman, "Okay, pay me the other 20,000 and I'll give you the well completely." And Uthman told him, "No, I'll just give you 10,000. So the man agreed. So he ended up getting it for less than he had originally offered. This well, subhanAllah, in Medina has continued to water the area and giving to the trees and to the people. Apparently there's a waqf or an endowment that's still there because the well is still flowing. So Uthman radiallahu anh is still getting sadaqah jariyah from this well to this day, 1400 years later. And some estimates that maybe in the bank account that's related to the well, $500 million because of the water and what it has supplied. So here, by digging this well and giving it to the Muslims, the Prophet ﷺ guaranteed Uthman Jannah. However, we know that we can also, by not only providing for water for people, but also being conservative. We don't talk about this often in Islam, about protection of the environment and conservation and not wasting. And so I'll finish the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. He told one of the Sahaba who was making wudu in a river or a stream, he told him, even if you are at a river or a stream making wudu, be conservative in the amount of water that you're using. So you're a river, the river is huge, you can take as much water as you want. And the Prophet ﷺ said, still be conservative with how much water you're using so that there is no waste, which unfortunately we see so much around the world. Water is a precious commodity, as we know. In some countries it's more expensive than oil or gasoline, right? Water is more expensive because it's so scarce. And Allah has only given us a very small amount of fresh water in the world as a miracle and a ni'mah for us to have. So we have to be thankful and try to conserve it, but also distribute it properly. May Allah guide us and help us to be of those who provide water to those who are in need and give water to those around the world that are in dire straits. Jazakumullah khair.